What's up everyone, it's Jenny. Today in my continued digital minimalism journey, I want to talk to you a little bit about inboxes. And this extends to more than your email inbox. In fact, you may have up to 20 inboxes. It really just depends on what apps you use, what things you need to check, etc. I'm going to run you through what I do for my weekly inbox clean out to make sure that I'm not missing anything and to make sure the things that I set a reminder for myself to remember to do later on gets filtered into the right places. So every week I have a clean inbox task that shows up on my to-do list, and it's a way to just see and kind of check box all the things that I need to go down through. To go through everything, yes, I will absolutely go through my emails. This is the time where I will do a deep dive in order to see what emails I need to process, what ones I can respond to right away, what ones I need to snooze for a later date, even like the next quarter or the next year. It really depends upon the email itself. But even though I go through like a very quick email kind of consumption check-in every day, I will go through in a more concerted effort on Fridays just to make sure things are going in the right places. As far as my computer desktop, I make sure to go through and clean all of those out because a lot of times I'll have miscellaneous screenshots on there, files, etc. So I will take screenshots, put them in their proper place, whether it's my journal or a notes app or something like that. And in terms of files, I will make sure to put them in their proper place so that they are organized and stored correctly, so when I'm looking for them later, I will have them to reference and I will know exactly where they are. I will do the same things with the downloads folder, and while I have all my settings on my computer to have everything download to the desktop, sometimes things do end up in the downloads folder, especially when I'm transferring things back and forth between computers via AirDrop. The other thing is the trash, my digital trash, and there are a few of these, whether it's on your computer, on your files, etc., wherever it may be. It's just a good habit to go out and take out your trash, especially once you've gone through and cleaned up your file drive and your desktop, etc. Just to have that empty trash can. It's kind of like a nice little tidying task to do every week. The other thing I do, and this starts to get into where I store information throughout the week. First, I will go into Apple Notes, and this is where most of my second brain lives. This is kind of my filing system, my note-taking place, etc. So when I am drafting something or pull out my iPad really fast, I can just hit the screen with the Apple Pencil and it'll bring up a new note right away. And if I doodled something really fast or wrote out something really fast, it'll be saved to my inbox in my notes, which is the default folder for anything you do with Apple Notes. So I make sure to go through that, take things that were ideas, put them into their proper place so that I can process them later. Another thing that I use on many computers is the Stickies app. The Stickies are a good place to capture ideas or things that you want to make sure to remember throughout the week. For example, I will put my accountability goals on a sticky. That way it's always on my desktop and I can always see it and be reminded of my goals that I want to accomplish every day or the overall goal that I want to accomplish that week, depending on which accountability partner I'm talking to. So I make sure to clean these up, and I also make sure to delete and clear all the stickies that I don't need and only have that one accountability sticky up on my desktop. The next one is voice memos, and voice memos is really interesting because I do use voice memos all the time, and I feel super creepy being on the street out for a run, and then all of a sudden I stop my podcast and I'll look around and just record a voice memo on my watch. But it is the one thing that I have when I'm out and about doing workouts out on the street. And if I'm listening to a podcast, I want to make sure to remember a certain book that they recommended or a certain idea that I want to explore further or write about, etc. So I will need to go through these voice memos to make sure that I capture those things, put them in the right spot, probably transcribe them even though they're just short ideas, and just clear out the voice memos so that they don't stack up and start to get digitally heavy. Another place that I will do this is with reminders, and this is the default Apple reminders, and this is because when I'm out and about, I will often tell reminders to remind me to do something when I get home, or put something on an inbox list or a shopping list, etc. Or if I just say hey Siri, remind me to do whatever, yep, and there she goes. I will need to go through that and make sure that everything is in its proper list, or it goes into my to-do list to become more of a permanent thing. Next is my Notability inbox, and this is similar to Notes. Notability is something that I use in order to use my digital bullet journal. It's also a place where I have handwritten notes, especially when I'm reading. I will oftentimes take notes on the book that I'm reading, write down quotes, write down relevant information or information that I want to capture for expansion on writing later, etc. So I will make sure to go through these notes and put them in their proper place. I'm working on a Notion setup where I have my each idea that I take from a book and put it into Notion so that it's categorized and things like that. So that is something that I'm building into the process. The other thing is photos, and I talked about this last week, but photo decluttering is so important, not only from the standpoint of saving iCloud storage space, but also just from the standpoint that we can use our camera on our phone as a digital inbox of sorts, because if we're out and about and we see something that we like or that we want to remember or that we want to send to a friend, etc., we want to make sure to go through those photos on a regular basis so that you don't lose sight of that and it just becomes like this thing that existed once and you never look at it again because you're not going through your photos. This is a really good time, again, to kind of go through and delete your photos, and if you want to see more information about how to do that and the benefits of that, you can check out the video. And finally, the last thing is text messages. I feel so bad because I don't know what happens, but sometimes I will have an unread message that gets marked as read, and then I don't end up responding to that person. And then the next time I go to message them, I'll see this like very long message from them that I should have responded to or that I didn't even realize that they sent. So now I'm on a habit of checking these weekly, just clicking on each message in my close friends list to make sure that I've responded to them and that there's no hanging threads, because I really don't like to leave someone hanging, especially because I have read receipts turned on, so it'll be marked as read even though I might not have seen it. I don't know why that happens. Maybe it's a watch thing, maybe it's a phone thing, I don't know. So that is the weekly inbox clean out process that I go through, and it does take quite a while, but once you get into the routine of doing it, you might only need to spend about an hour on this. And I know that sounds like a big commitment, but let me tell you that when you have your system of inboxes and you know where you need to check, in order to just have all these basically digital scraps of paper that you might have on a desk, a physical desk, when you have those ironed out so that you know to capture everything and process everything like it should be processed so it doesn't get lost into the ether, it's a really good practice to get into, and when you do it weekly, it becomes less of a burden. And anyway, I hope this video was helpful. I would love to know what you think about this digital minimalism content versus regular, more traditional minimalism content. So let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next week. Bye.